Time once again for my favorite segment here on WCW Worldwide. Note to the producers, let this one run long if it has to. It's AskWCW.com. You know the drill. Send your email to AskWCW@WCW.com, and we will ask your question of a WCW superstar. This week, the question from Bob in Zephyrhills, Florida, has a question for Lash LaRue, formerly of the Misfits in Action. His question for Lash: who is your favorite opponent, and what was your favorite match? Lash LaRue with his answer.
Bob, thank you very much for that question, brother. I have to say my favorite opponent to ever wrestle would have to be Chavo Guerrero Jr. It's kind of funny saying that now that we're teammates, but we've even had matches together since we've been a team and since we've been involved in the MIA. Lieutenant Loco and myself, when we get in the ring, we have a lot of fun, man, because we can go around and round technical-wise, match each other holds for holds. Makes it very competitive and very interesting match. But as far as the best match or most exciting match I was ever involved in, believe it or not, I myself, Corporal Cajun, was not wrestling. We were at a house show, which is a non-televised show, in Amarillo, Texas. And Terry Funk was wrestling one of his last matches against Lance Storm for the United States title. Right there in his hometown, Terry Funk won the match. We run out as a group MIA and hold him above our shoulders, and you would not believe the electricity of the crowd there in Amarillo. It was unbelievable. Had to be the best experience I've ever had.
Bob, there's your answer, and what a memorable night that was for Lash LaRue, Terry Funk and Lance Storm. And I'll tell you what, since we used your question, we will send you...
Wait, I've got a question for Lash LaRue, Corporal Cajun. And that question is, how is life in WCW going to be without all the backup, without all the strength and numbers that the Misfits in Action afforded you? I think it's going to be an uphill struggle for Mr. Lash LaRue, a.k.a. Corporal Cajun.
That's a good question. Here's Lash with his answer.
Good. Wait, we don't have time for that.
Sure we do.
No, we don't. We've got to have plenty of time left for the professor's pick. Come on, get with it.
This WCW Worldwide T-shirt coming your way, Bob. If we use your question, send us your name, address, and shirt size. This is an extra large. Tanae, it might fit over your head.
Come on, they know that. Yeah, suitable for framing. We understand all that. Let's get on with this. Plenty of time for the pick of the week.
The pick of the week is coming up next. Maybe. Stay with us.
Maybe.
You're wasting time with all this gaga.
Nothing about it. It's in my contract.
Have you been running in this? You working in the yard?
Suitable for framing.
When we come back, exclusive worldwide action. Stay with us. And welcome back to WCW Worldwide here in the Worldwide Arena. Our first look, Mike, at young Danny Fakira.
Danny Fakira is from Arizona State. Very accomplished as an amateur wrestler. And in the year 2000, Danny even toured in the Orient with New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is his opportunity to shine here in WCW. And you know, Danny and so many of the other competitors in World Championship Wrestling are looking to impress. Not just Ric Flair, the boss. Not just the commissioner, the cat, but the new ownership of WCW as well.
Speaking of impressing Ric Flair, Alex Wright atop the ramp. It was only a couple of weeks ago, Mike, on Nitro when Ric Flair announced that Alex Wright, of all people, was the #1 contender to the world title. However, the real #1 contender, Kevin Nash, how you say, usurped his position.
Well, if you talk about taking someone and power bombing them directly through the stage, then I guess he did usurp that position, that role as #1 contender. Yes, the killer, Kevin Nash, not big sexy faces Scott Steiner. What, you like the dance moves?
No, I know that's your favorite part. Danny Fakira unimpressed by the dance moves of Das Wunderkind Alex Wright.
Das what?
Das Wunderkind.
I didn't know you were bilingual.
Thank you. Tremendous. Alex and Danny Fakira to go at it. Alex, where is Disco Inferno, by the way?
Why would you even ask that question?
Because Disco
Things have been so peaceful around WCW with Disco on the shelf for the past month or so, and you want to dig him up and bring him back? For what purpose?
Dig him up? What, is he still nursing some sort of injury?
Who cares?
Who cares? Well, Disco is a talented man and a brilliant commentator.
Oh, right.
And he was Alex Wright's backup, for one thing.
Well, you want him to come in here and take your job as an announcer?
No, yours. Full Nelson go behind by Alex Wright. Fakira, nice escape into a hammerlock and reversal. Oh, and now full Nelson. There we go again. Good chain wrestling. Counter maneuvers by Wright and Fakira. An exchange of full Nelsons.
Obviously, Alex Wright has the experience edge. Oh, over this youngster, Danny Fakira. But if you think of another edge in this match, maybe the advantage goes to Fakira. Oh, great spinning heel kick. Caught him with the leg lariat that time. Danny Fakira has been watching Alex Wright wrestle in WCW here for the past 5, 6, 7 years. Alex Wright has had no chance to scout someone like Danny Fakira, and you can see that the deep arm drags working to his advantage. Caught him, took the man down with the drop kick.
Little power display from Danny Fakira, nicely executed, and Alex Wright going to take 5 on the outside. Not a bad call.
Well, we talked about the amateur status of Danny Fakira and how he was a champion at Arizona State, but that's not going to gain you a championship belt in World Championship Wrestling. But it looks like so far that transition from his amateur role to the professional ranks here at WCW going quite well. Went for the baseball slide, drop kick, came up short and then received that lariat for his trouble.
He certainly did. Alex Wright, a veteran maneuver, taking advantage of the youngster. A rookie mistake by Fakira, and Alex is not going to let him get a second win. Alex sets Fakira into the ring apron.
Alex Wright just unloading with a variation of offensive moves. Stands Fakira up, catches him with the knife edge chop, and decides that it's better to send him back into the ring where you can legally win the match.
Fakira down on all fours. Alex Wright still taking advantage, but taking his time. Right up top, and Fakira cut him off. Took a little too long, did the 6'5" German.
Obviously why they call it the high-risk move. And Alex Wright's reluctance that time almost to go up to the top rope certainly cost him. Let's see if Fakira can take advantage. Going to try and superplex him back into the ring.
Wright holding on, trying to block it. Shots into the midsection of Fakira. Shoves him right back into the ring. Now Alex. This was the original plan all along. From up top. Stopped him right in the chest.
Off the top rope, driving down with all of his weight across the chest of Danny Fakira. Obviously taking the wind out of this youngster. Follows up back to the basics. Snapmare, and then using both boots to skid right off the face of Fakira, and then drops the elbow across the chest.
Snap elbow drops from Alex Wright, and Fakira seeing stars in there. Not a textbook cover, and Fakira will kick out at 2.
Now, what was the story on that pin attempt? Great moves to set it up by Alex Wright, taking the wind and surprising the youngster Danny Fakira. But then when he went to go for the cover, that was a brutal pin attempt.
Absolutely.
Talk about nonchalant.
Shoots Fakira in, waits on him, misses a clothesline. Fakira ducks the back elbow. Danny Fakira up top, crossbody, got it. Pin attempt, hooks the leg, 2, and no. Alex Wright kicked out at 2. What a drop kick. Caught him in the chest. Knocked him down and took his breath away. Right into the ropes. Fakira up top, no. Veteran maneuver, and dropped the elbow. Right across the small of the back.
There's the opening for Alex Wright. The rookie mistake by Danny Fakira, and let's see if Wright can put him away. Alex Wright just now neutralizing Fakira with the rear chin lock.
Danny Fakira from Arizona State University, the second Arizona State alumnus to excel in WCW following the Mighty Wilbur in 1987.
What, the Mighty Wilbur? He never went to ASU.
Back down. Now look at Wright using the ropes for leverage, and Fakira just getting his life choked away, and the referee stepping in, but Wright, ever the veteran, off the ropes before the referee saw it.
Mighty Wilbur didn't even go to Arkansas State, let alone Arizona State.
What are you, the Mighty Wilbur fan club president?
Wilbur.
Concentrate on the match. Fakira trying to find out of the modified sleeper. Can't believe you.
Can't believe me. You're the one that brought him up.
Back elbows from Fakira into the ropes. Right. Got the knee up into the midsection.
You can see that the offensive attack of Alex Wright has been focused. It's been centered on one aspect of Danny Fakira. That's catching him with impact moves to the chest, to the midsection, taking his breath away from him. Off the snap suplex, the cover.
Once again, lackadaisical cover that time by Alex Wright, and again arguing with the official. This is why Alex Wright is... Roll up! Single leg, schoolboy, can he hang on? No, Wright kicked out.
Momentary lapse in concentration almost cost him, but then Wright immediately gets to his feet and comes back with an impact move like the running clothesline.
And again, waste time. This is why Alex Wright is not the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. He has the physical tools, but mentally, he's just not in this match. Sunset flip takeover. No, but Wright not going over like that, or is he? Fakira, the bridge out, using his power. Roll up, cradles him. No, and Wright kicked out.
Great example of the power and the strength by Fakira, using that bridging move for the attempt, and then the gut-wrench suplex by Alex Wright.
Textbook cover that time, and Fakira kicked out, but Fakira has been slowed.
You can almost sense the frustration here on the face of Alex Wright. Several high-impact moves, only eliciting a 2 count from the referee.
Side slam on Fakira that time. And Alex Wright, you're right, Mike, is very, very frustrated. You know he didn't scout Fakira before this matchup. He had no way to do so, but Wright thought he could walk over the youngster. Wright from high atop the ring. Fakira wide open, got the boot up. Caught Wright in the chest.
Alex Wright goes airborne, and once he committed himself off the top rope, that came back to haunt him. Fakir able to extend the leg, stop him. Exchange of punches by both of these individuals.
Wright's had no effect on Fakir, but that reversal will into the ropes. Fakir got the boot up into the chest again.
That's not a veteran move. He telegraphed the back body drop.
Look at that hip toss. Fakir showing some strategy here. Take away the cardio development.
Whoa!
Nicely executed back body drop that time by Fakir. Upset in the making here. Fakir backs him into the corner. Sets him up. Shoots him across hard. Waits on him. All the way across the ring again. What an upset this would be.
This
Fakir,
could be it.
Double arm. Suplex.
Butterflied him. Took him over. Go for the cover.
Lateral press. Far leg 2.
Did he get it? I think he got 3.
Wait a minute. What happened?
Only a 2 count apparently. Referee Slick Johnson tells us.
Wright must have rolled up that right shoulder. Just out of camera range, the referee, Slick Johnson. Wait a minute, Wright with the spine buster.
Sudden stop, drives him down to the canvas. You can see Alex Wright is going to go for another high-risk move. Paid off once, did not pay off the last time.
I'm going to get with Mark Johnson after this and see what happened to Wright. Got the benefit of it out there. Missile drop kick from the top, lateral press, and it's over. Oh, Alex Wright dodged a bullet there. Make no mistake about it. Keep your eye on young Danny Fakira.
You're right. Wright did dodge the bullet, but when it came down to that most important part of the match, he was able to mount the top rope, connect with the missile dropkick. Great impact coming off the top for Alex Wright. He followed that up with the pinfall attempt and the 3 count. Alex Wright gains the win over Danny Fakira, but Fakira was awfully impressive in defeat.
And this exclusive worldwide action brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT. 1-800-COLLECT. It's the easy way to save. Alex Wright wins it here on Worldwide. Something had to make him stand out in Ric Flair's eyes. He was the #1 contender to the world title.
Scott, if you think about it, that match just intensifies what has been going on as of late in World Championship Wrestling. We see Alex Wright scoring the win, and many people wonder, where is Alex Wright going to stand with these new factions in World Championship Wrestling? Will he align himself with Ric Flair, or will it be with the Cat?
Alex Wright through the stage. Compliments of the #1 contender, Kevin Nash. And in 2 weeks, at February 18th, Super Brawl Revenge, Kevin gets his shot at Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. It's Paige and Jarrett, Ray Jr. and Chavo. Many more matches to be announced for Super Brawl Revenge over the next couple of weeks. For Mike Tenay, I'm Scott Hudson. We'll see you next week, right here on Worldwide. Welcome back to Worldwide. Time now for AskWCW.com. You know the drill. All you got to do, get on your email, give us your question to AskWCW@WCW.com. If we use your question on the air and you send us your shirt size and an address, we'll send you a Worldwide t-shirt. This week, our question from Bill in Dallas, Texas. And what a question he asked. I can't wait for this answer. Bill asked, Ric Flair, what is your most memorable match? What a great question.
Yeah, that really is a good question, because if you think back through the years, who has been involved in more high-profile matches than the Nature Boy, now the boss of World Championship Wrestling, Ric Flair?
Really looking forward to this answer, Bill. Here, the boss, Ric Flair.
Hey, Bill, I really appreciate that. That's a question I'm asked a lot, and the first choice, an obvious choice, I think, to a lot of people, as well as to myself, is the match I had against Ricky Steamboat in Chicago in 1989. The theme of the show was Chi-Town Heat. It was a pay-per-view match. I lost the match, but I think in my mind, as I look back over the years, that'll go down in history as probably one of the greatest matches I ever had with anybody. And I can honestly tell you, I've wrestled everybody there is to wrestle, so I'm passing a compliment to Rick Steamboat. He was a tremendous athlete, a tremendous competitor, and on that given night, he happened to be a better man than me. We had a great match. I lost the match, but it's something that I will always remember, I think, is the greatest matches I ever participated in.
I got to tell you, Mike Tenay, that match would have been in my top 5, but Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had 3 matches in 1989. I would have gone with the one in Nashville at the Music City Showdown.
You know, that's not a bad choice, but you could even make a case for that 60-minute draw that the two had in New Orleans. I think that says an awful lot about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat when you consider the level of competition that Ric Flair has faced in his illustrious career.
Bill from Dallas, Texas, thank you. We must confess, we get that question more than any other question. And Bill from Dallas, it was your lucky week. You got picked, and thus you get the WCW Worldwide T-shirt. Boy, you've been changing your oil in this thing. It smells like a shrimp boat.
One size fits all.
Come on. Please, when we come back to Worldwide, can this be right? The pick of the week?
That's right, by popular demand.
I'm going to check this out. We're coming back to Worldwide. Now, I thought we had announced that.
No. Just got renewed.
Is it sponsored?
Lifetime deal.
No way. Welcome back to Worldwide. Here's the news you've been waiting for. You've made it through the pick of the week, and now the news about Spring Breakout 2001. Always my favorite part of the year, and this year, our friends at 1-800-COLLECT bring you Party Gras 2001. February 24th, we're going to be in the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana. That's the real party town for Mardi Gras, WCW, and Nitro, a huge part of 1-800-COLLECT's Party Gras 2001 on the 24th, but it doesn't stop there. The Spring Breakout Tour begins, and we're coming to a campus near you. Get ready. Clemson, University of Tennessee, and University of Florida. WCW's coming your way. We wrap it all up with a huge spring break blowout in Panama City Beach, Florida at the end of March. Mike, the crossover publicity for World Championship Wrestling does not stop there.
Is it my turn to talk yet?
Would you mind? It's an hour show.
You know, Scott, you talk about that crossover publicity that WCW has been receiving, and a prime example of that has to be a recent edition of the WB Series Charm, starring Alyssa Milano and Shannon Doherty, because World Championship Wrestling superstars Buff Bagwell, Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, and Booker T all made guest appearances, and that's not all.
Never had a lesson. Very good. Let's go back to behind closed doors with Joan London. Joni took her cameras to the WCW power plant and got exclusive backstage, behind the scenes, behind closed doors footage. Courtesy of A&E, let's go to behind closed doors.
I'm Joan London. Well, Joan London, you're here at our training facility. You better best get out of the ring before you get hurt, hon. I don't think so.
Okay, girls, you get in that corner over there, Joan. Medusa, you get over there. Hey, guys, let's come here a minute. Come here. Okay, Joe London in this corner. Medusa in this corner.
Come on, Joe.
Are you ready, ladies? Yes. Let's get it on. Let's go.
Never before seen footage of the WCW power plant, compliments of behind closed doors with Joan London.
Well, what did you think of the job that your gal Joni did behind closed doors?
I don't think we should talk about that, shouldn't we?
No, that's the name of the show.
Oh, that? Well, she did great. She always does. Let's move along and talk about WCW Magazine.
Joni.
What are you, Mike Wallace?
Joni
Personal
loves
question.
Chachi.
Does she really?
Get
And
to the
she
magazine.
told WCW Magazine. 20 questions, Q&A for Big Papa Pump, our world champion, Scott Steiner. In addition to that, the 2000 awards, the best of World Championship Wrestling from last year.
What are you doing reading the awards when you could be looking at pictures of Tigress shot exclusively on location in Puerto Rico?
Well, I can't look at those pictures.
Why not?
I've torn them out of my copy and put them on my bedroom wall.
Yeah, I believe that.
In addition to that, you have an exclusive list of the worldwide affiliates.
That's great. You really need that because you'll never miss a professor's pick if you have that exclusive list.
Well,
watch WCW Worldwide everywhere in the country. This will tell you the city, the location, the channel.
You can maybe hit the head.
It'll tell you the time that WCW Worldwide is on. That way you'll never miss a pick.
It's all in the new issue of WCW Magazine. When we come back to Worldwide, the preview of Super Brawl Revenge. Don't go anywhere.
That's on newsstands now, by the way.
When are you going to start coming to rehearsal?
Rehearsal?
When we come back to Worldwide, it's exclusive in-ring action. Stay with us.
This exclusive matchup on WCW Worldwide Wrestling brought to you by the motor oil that provides maximum protection. Castrol GTX. Drive hard. Hi, everybody. Tony Schiavone, ringside with the Professor Mike Tenay. There's been so much talk about the Cruiserweight division as we head towards Super Brawl, and this should be a fine Cruiserweight matchup here on Worldwide, Mike.
Tony, in the year 2001, every match in WCW is of utmost importance because factions are aligning themselves within Ric Flair's World Championship Wrestling, as he calls it. This matchup going to be no different. In the ring already, the Wildcat, Chris Harris, looking for a full-time contract with WCW. The opposition provided by one of those top cruiserweights, as you mentioned, in Shannon Moore, a young man who has already made his name here, already established himself on the WCW roster.
Speaking of factions, if you take a look at the faction of 3 Count, it seems as if 3 Count's kind of broken down because there's no more Evan Courageous, and it seems now that the other 2 members, Shannon Moore and Sugar Shane Helms, have broken off and are wrestling exclusively in singles competition in the Cruiserweight division.
But it's almost as if they have moved up the ladder after the breakup of 3 Count. Maybe the 3 of them together, well, maybe they were held back because they were a trio. Now that they're in singles competition, they have risen to the top.
Reversal into the midsection goes Shannon Moore up on top. Chris Harris. Harris trying to hold on, but Shannon Moore rolls right down his back and 1-2 and gets out with a 2 count that time. Hooked by Harris, forward roll, 1-2 again. Shannon Moore showing that he has a great counter move for just about anything Chris Harris will throw at him, but now the bigger Chris Harris mauling him in the corner here, Mike.
You know, we often refer to Sugar Shane Helms as the sensation of innovation, but you certainly have to give Shannon Moore credit as well for coming up with some of the most innovative moves we've ever seen, but that time on the receiving end of Wildcat Chris Harris, just tossing him over the top rope, slingshot into a crossbody block by Harris, and he connected.
And Harris continues the assault here now against Shannon Moore. You talked about how Helms and Moore now are shining in singles competition more so than in tag team. There's no Cruiserweight tag team division. This is their forte. This is their weight class. This is where they excel in singles and in Cruiserweight.
And maybe it's the fact that there is that championship belt to shoot for that we have really seen their careers on the rise. And Shannon Moore now on the receiving end of the toss-off. The southpaw Chris Harris, used his feet that time to elevate Moore.
Chris Harris perched in a corner, waiting, and running over Shannon Moore. He did a 360 in midair with that 1-2, and he almost pinned him.
Harris connected with that left arm lariat that time, and oftentimes I think when you see a left-hander in the ring, maybe it throws the opposition off a little bit. They're more used to that right arm lariat, caught him from the opposite side, telegraphed the back body drop, did Harris.
Arn Anderson would agree to that, a southpaw, and of course Arn Anderson with a lot of success. Very legendary in the wars of WCW. I would say, even though Harris, we're very impressed with Chris Harris. We know him. He's a fine competitor. This would be a major upset if he could defeat Shannon Moore, only because of the TV time Shannon Moore has gotten compared to Chris Harris.
It does really boil down to the experience level between these two. Shannon Moore connecting with the elbow to the back of the head and then charging across the ring, and all of his weight crashing down onto the back of Harris while his throat was draped over that middle rope.
Harris in trouble, and Shannon Moore will take full advantage of it. No, Harris not in trouble. Sends him into the near side ropes. Has him up. Look at this. The size and power of Chris Harris now coming into play and running in with a left-handed lariat. Takes him down. 1, 2, no. Charles Robinson close there as he tells us only 2, and the match continues.
The setup move to the lariat, that inverted atomic drop that almost looked like a low blow, almost proved the difference. Moore, great move off the top, moonsaulting, corkscrewing in the air, but then doesn't go for the pin.
1, 2, and only a 2 count. The reason he didn't go for a pin, he hurt himself, stunned himself on the way down that time.
And that momentary delay was probably the reason that he was only able to get a 2 count. Now both men to their feet.
Shannon Moore, knife edge chop, sending Harris back to the corner, and a foot to the face. Moore got the hands up trying to block. Could not, though. And he drives him face first into the mat. Face jam into a 1, into a 2. And that was not a good pinning combination for Chris Harris, although he could have won the match.
Well, again, that was the key. Did not have great weight positioning. Just able to drape the arm across the chest of Shannon Moore. And now Moore goes back to the offense. Oh, that knee caught him right in the midsection.
Drives the knee into the midsection. And now here he goes up on top. Oh, the bottom's up. One of his favorite moves, if not his forte. It could get the win. 2. No, it did not.
He kicked out of his finishing move.
Well,
Chris Harris able to kick out of the bottoms up from Shannon Moore, and that was a shocker.
well scouted, doing his homework, is Chris Harris. He's still in this thing. There's the quickness of Shannon Moore into a sleeper hold. Harris doesn't waste any time putting him into the ropes, stuns him into the gut, and now swinging neck breaker off the far side ropes. Here's the pinning combination. 2. No! That was the closest near fall of the match yet, Mike.
Better pin attempt that time by Harris, able to hook the leg, put all of his weight across the chest of Moore, but he came up just this short.
Harris once again tries to win this thing. Shannon Moore still has life left, into a sleeper, and drops him down on the back of his neck, out of the sleeper hold, into the neck breaker. 1, 2, 3, it's over. And Shannon Moore fights through this and defeats Chris Harris.
Unique slam out of the sleeper, and that is the difference as Shannon Moore continues his winning success in WCW.
Your winner, Shannon Moore, looking to move up the ladder in the cruiserweight division.
You know, whoever wins next weekend between Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Rey Mysterio Jr., they're going to have to contend with a laundry list of cruiserweight contenders, including Shannon Moore.
Just another great example of the depth of the cruiserweight roster in World Championship Wrestling. Shannon Moore established himself as a member of the 3-count tag team, but now I really think he has cemented his role as a singles wrestler in that cruiserweight division.
Next week on Worldwide, much more about Spring Breakout 2001, and next weekend is Super Brawl Revenge Weekend. We're getting ready to go to Nashville, Tennessee. For the Professor Mike Tenay, I'm Scott Hudson. See you next weekend here on Worldwide. Welcome back to WCW Worldwide. It's Super Brawl Weekend, and time now for AskWCW.com. And by now you know the drill. Send your questions via email to AskWCW@WCW.com. And Mike, this week our question is about in-ring injuries.
And Scott, as Sting, Booker T, and Sid Vicious can all attest, anytime you're involved in a match with Scott Steiner, there's a high probability of injury. And that's one thing that Kevin Nash is going to have to avoid if he hopes to be successful this Sunday at Super Brawl Revenge when he goes for the World's Heavyweight title.
Interesting point, because the question is for Charles Robinson, a WCW referee. And it's from Jason Amos in Seattle, Washington, who I believe used to play James Evans on Good Times, actually.
No, I think you're thinking of famous Amos, the cookie maker.
He was never on Good Times. Anyway, Jason's question is for Charles Robinson. What is the scariest injury you've ever witnessed in the ring during a match you were calling? Great question. Jason, here's your answer.
Jason Amos from Seattle, Washington. Thanks for your question. You wanted to know what the scariest injury I've ever seen in the ring. Well, it's actually 2. Number 1 was Brian Knobbs against Fit Finley in Jackson, Mississippi. Fit went through a table and ripped the back part of his calf off. Number 2 was when Randy Savage actually landed on me with the elbow drop and collapsed my lung. I couldn't breathe. So those were the 2 scariest moments.
Awful injuries described by Charles Robinson, Mike, who has a better view than almost anyone else as the third man in the ring. Certainly not a position I want to be in, and I don't want to suffer any injury like that. But, Jason, because we used your question, you get a WCW Worldwide T-shirt. And if we use your question, send it to us in an email. Send us your T-shirt size. If we use it, you get the shirt. If we don't use it, you get Mike Tenay's Trust.
You know, speaking of injuries, Scott, I'll never forget the time that Mike Awesome took Bam Bam Bigelow. And he took that 400-pound beast from the East and he threw him right at the broadcast table. Bigelow slid right across the table. He crashed into me. I think it was probably 30, 40 stitches that I had to take. A concussion. Look, I was hospitalized for weeks.
The next time you want to say something, have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the viewer.
WCW.com.
When we come back, Spring Breakout 2K1 on a Super Brawl weekend on Worldwide. Oh, man, I need a mister or something. That is hot. That's Chiquita of the Nitro Girls, and you think she looks good there. What about in person when WCW hits the Spring Breakout 2K1 Tour, kicks off a week from Monday, when 1-800-COLLECTS brings you Party Gras in the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana, February 24th. Huge Nitro in the Big Easy, and the party is only beginning on the 24th.
And talking about a Nitro girl that looks good, did you check out this new edition of WCW Magazine on newsstands now? Photo spread of Che from the Nitro Girls, major feature on Scott Steiner pumping up with the world's heavyweight champ, the inside story of Diamond Dallas Page and Kevin Nash, plus a complete listing of everywhere across the country that you can see WCW Worldwide, all in this issue of WCW Magazine on newsstands now.
Pick up the mag, and then we begin Spring Breakout 2K1. We hit the college campuses. Clemson University in Greenville, South Carolina. How about the University of Tennessee in Knoxville? Then it's down to UF, University of Florida. I'm a Florida State guy, but UF in Gainesville. We'll choke it up a little bit, and we'll find some fun in Gainesville. But then it all comes to a head the 26th of March on the white sand beaches of the Gulf Coast of Florida. Panama City Beach, Florida, Spring Breakout 2K1. You don't want to miss it. And when we come back to Worldwide, Super Brawl Revenge is Sunday night. We will preview the entire card next on this broadcast of Worldwide. Do not adjust your set. It's WCW Worldwide Party Gras Weekend. Scott Hudson and the hot chick from Eyes Wide Shut, and Party Gras is up and running in the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this edition of Worldwide, the Professor has his pick of the week. We've got exclusive worldwide action and Spring Breakout 2001, the latest Gaga. Ask WCW.com.
Scott Hudson, I have to admit that you have never looked better. And in the spirit of Party Gras 2001, have I got a surprise for you.
Laissez les bon temps rouler. Scott Hudson, Mike today, my friend. We need to let the good times roll. You know what I'm saying? Because it's 2001, and it's going to be Party Gras. We're kicking it off. What better way to kick it off than be with the stooge from Baton Rouge, the Ayatollah of Shrimp Creola, the Raging Cajun himself, Lash LaRue.
And in this WCW Worldwide broadcast, we'll have an exclusive one-on-one interview with Lash LaRue as well.
The stooge from Baton Rouge?
That's what he said.
Yeah, and may I say, Dr. John would be very proud of that get-up.
Well, Dr. John, that's a great reference. Wow.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time.
That's terrific. Party Gras up and running, and of course the Lashinator with us. Could it be Party Gras without the Raging Cajun?
No.
Speaking
No way,
of
no how.
Party Gras, what about this? The crew of Tux Parade in the French Quarter, Grand Marshal Float, WCW Superstars. Of course, so much more going on in the Big Easy for Party Gras 2001, but that's only the beginning, guys. Spring Breakout begins at Party Gras. Then we go to Clemson University, then to the University of Tennessee, and then to the hated Gator Country, Gainesville, Florida, at the University of Florida. It all wraps up Panama City Beach at the end of March. 4 huge days of Spring Breakout 2001. Pat McGee Band, Vertical Horizon, Sister Hazel, all
Don't forget about Fastball in New Orleans.
That's
Big
right.
concert, big concert.
Fastball, in concert, Party Gras, that's in the Big Easy. We wrap it up in PCB. Don't forget about this. Mr. and Ms. Nitro contest on the beach. Mike Tenay defending his bikini Mr. Nitro contest.
You know,
Good luck.
I've decided to hang my Speedo up.
Go!
I mean, you know, once you win it 5, 6, 7 years in a row, I think we'll give Shivani a shot this year.
The thought of a hanging Tenay Speedo sent chills up my spine.
Hear no evil, see no evil.
When we come back to Worldwide, the latest on Chris Kanyon and Diamond Dallas Page. But would it be Party Gras? Would it be Worldwide without Worldwide Trivia? Here is this week's question. And welcome back to WCW Worldwide. What happened to your gimmick?
What do you mean what happened to my gimmick?
You had the mask
the
on.
producer said to take it off, and I listened to direction around here.
Look, here's a
More
quote.
than I can say for you.
Get yourself a good haircut.
Great.
Diamond Dallas Page and Chris Kanyon. Let's get serious for a moment if we could.
Please.
To steal Lance Storm's line. Chris Kanyon broke into World Championship Wrestling. One of the guys that came in, Mike, just match-by-match deal, flown in for a match here and there, rarely won, rarely did anything of any consequence, but Diamond Dallas Page saw something in his fellow Jerseyite, and Diamond Dallas Page took Chris Kanyon from whatever he was, this green rookie, to the very top of World Championship Wrestling.
We've heard this story before. Diamond Dallas Page gives and gives and gives, and he's known for that at the WCW power plant, any extra time that he might have, doing anything that he can to instruct the younger wrestlers. And how ungrateful can Chris Kanyon be to the point where he was mocking DDP with his look, with his signature move? And I guess it was no surprise that when Chris Kanyon returned to WCW, it was in an attack on Diamond Dallas Page.
Mocking the man at every turn. Diamond Dallas Page lost his wife, lost his career, lost his move, lost his music, all to Chris Kanyon. That's gratitude. This is a special look at Diamond Dallas Page and his former charge, now his sworn enemy, Chris Kanyon. Not to diminish the talent or abilities of Chris Kanyon, but Mike, you know it as well as I do. It's not what you can do, sometimes it's who you know. And Chris Kanyon knew Diamond Dallas Page, and Page took him to the World Tag Team Championship.
These two are on a collision course, and I think it's inevitable that in the future we are going to see Diamond Dallas Page matched up against Chris Kanyon, and I know that DDP is certainly gunning for revenge.
No question about it. When Kanyon and Page match up, that's going to be a lot more than a wrestling match. That's one man that lost everything, taking on the man that took it from him. When we come back to WCW Worldwide, it's AskWCW.com. Stay with us. Welcome back to WCW Worldwide. I sent Mike Tenay off for a grande latte with a squirt of hazelnut and brought in Lash LaRue, our special guest on Party Gras weekend for AskWCW.com. Lash, we fired up the Scoop Master, and we've got a question on AskWCW.com for you. You know the drill. Email your question to AskWCW@WCW.com. And this week, our question for Lash LaRue from Joseph Gilbert of Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Lash, here's the question. I heard of your incident during the making of the WCW Mayhem video game where your front teeth got knocked out. So my question is, do you now have false teeth, or were they able to replace them? That's the question.
Joseph, that's a very good question, and I can assure you that that is not just some urban legend. The actual truth of that is, one of my very first breaks in this business, coming out of the power plant, was EA Sports took a look at me and saw what I was capable of doing and brought me up to Vancouver to work on the video games and do all the moves and such. During one of the takes, they were actually wanting to get sound of someone coming off the turnbuckle to the outside through a table. Well, I had no problem doing it whatsoever. They wired me up, put mics on me, headgear, all this stuff. What I didn't know about is they had added some other miscellaneous items underneath the table in order to try to emphasize the sound a little bit more. As I came off the turnbuckle to the outside through the table, it turns out on top of all the other materials underneath was a car door of all things. And my face hit that after going through the table and knocked my front teeth from the gum lines down completely out. Completely out. All that was left was just the little nubs on each one, just kind of hanging. So we shoved them back up in there. They took me straight to the dentist. Had double root canal. They were able to bond them back up. It's not false teeth. I can't sit here and take them out and have a partial or anything. So you don't have to worry about that. Actually. Oh, but actually a funny side story to that is the dentist that worked on my teeth and bonded them back up. I'm in Vancouver, so she had never seen me before in my life. She had no idea what my front teeth looked like. So when she finished, I had these very unattractive snaggle teeth with a gap so far, so wide that you could drive a truck through. And because of my artistic prowess, I was able to draw what my teeth looked like before the accident. And she went by the drawing to reconstruct my teeth into what they are now, which are these Cajun pearls.
Great story. Lash LaRue. multifaceted, multi-talented man in World Championship Wrestling. And Joseph, because we used your question, you get a WCW Worldwide T-shirt.
Very nice.
That
Where
is
can I get a T-shirt?
See Mike Tenay.
They never gave me a
T-shirt. He runs a kiosk down at the mall. Mike Tenay will rejoin us, by the way. That's Tenay's chair. Maybe to check yourself for maybe a rash or some shiny livestock when you get up from there. Just free advice.
I thought I felt an itch.
When we come back to Worldwide, the Professor has his pick of the week. Thanks a lot, Lash.
Thank you.
Not exactly eating skinless chicken and doing ISO curls, but Rowdy Roddy Piper was in training for one match against one opponent that dogged him for many, many years. And it's this week's pick of the week from the Professor, Mike Tenay.
Scott, you're right. I think it has to be maybe the most unique training regimen that we have ever seen in WCW, and certainly one of the most memorable rivalries of the 1990s was Rowdy Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan. A little background. At Starrcade 1996, Piper won a non-title matchup against Hogan. WCW officials determined that he should get a shot at that World's Heavyweight Championship. And as a result, we are going to take you to San Francisco, California. This is Super Brawl number 7. It's February 1997, and it's Hulk Hogan defending the world's title against Rowdy Roddy Piper. It was an era when the NWO was drunk with power and certainly out of control. Hulk Hogan was in the midst of a one-year run as WCW World's Heavyweight Champion from August of 1996 until August of 1997. And to put that accomplishment into perspective, to give you some kind of an idea, in the year 2000, the WCW World's Heavyweight title changed hands over 24 times, Scott.
But there's only one Mr. Nitro Thong division, and that's Mike Tenay. That title will be defended when Spring Breakout 2001 ends up in Panama City Beach at the end of March.
I've already told you I'm not defending that title again.
That was a great segue, though.
It was a horrible segue.
When we come back to Worldwide, the Professor,
Mr. Thong,
and Lash LaRue, one-on-one. Stay with us. What? I beg your pardon?
This week on WCW Worldwide, an opportunity to go one-on-one, up close and personal with the former Corporal Cajun of the Misfits in Action, Lash LaRue. And Lash, I know you're in your mid-20s. Maybe you can take us back. Give us a little personal bio, a little background information on yourself.
Well, actually, Mike, I'm 24 now. Just turned 24 last November. So I kind of feel like even though it's been a short time in the business so far and a short time with WCW, I feel like I've really grown leaps and bounds over that short time. I was pretty much in college, dropped out of college to pursue the wrestling thing once I made the tryout with the WCW power plant. And so wrestling, I had a lot of jobs before I started wrestling because I had to work through high school. I had to work from a very young age, coming from you know, kind of a poverty-stricken family. And so I was able to work hard, and I knew the, you know, the value of working hard and how much that work ethic can get you by. And I think that was my strong point at the power plant, in all honesty, was the fact that I had the heart and the dedication to work sometimes harder than a guy next to me. And that was able, you know, that enabled me to break out before a lot of other guys did.
Fill us in on your amateur background.
Well, in high school, I was a amateur wrestler. I was pretty successful, you know, wrestling from the time of being in the 9th grade on through my junior year. In fact, the only thing that kept me from wrestling my senior year was that work schedule and having to work after hours and work school. But I still found a good deal of success. My junior year, I got 3rd place in the state tournament in Alabama. And I placed my sophomore year also in the state tournament. And many felt that I was the favor to win the state championship my senior year, but I was unable to fulfill that.
WCW fans every month in the WCW magazine have an opportunity to see some of your caricatures, your artwork. And I can also say that backstage at WCW events, we're maybe let in on, well, a little bit more inside work of Lash LaRue, because many times you put your artwork up on the walls of the WCW locker rooms.
Exactly. I've had many guys come up to me and tell me it was quite a morale boost to have me come in and maybe the inside jokes or the little ribs that we like to poke fun at each other, and for me to come in on the walls of the locker rooms. They had those dry erase boards, and I would come in and kind of draw a few cartoons here and there, and then come to find out I had not been doing it maybe once, for 1 or 2 weeks, and then seeing Bret Hart doing the same thing,
Sure.
and many people know about his cartooning background also. And I had a lot of fun drawing with him, watching him draw, and then him watching me draw. And in many ways, I kind of feel like this, maybe one thing he passed down to me was my ability now to go in and rib the boys, if you will, and draw pictures of them on the board in the back. And so far, I've not stepped on any toes. It seems like I get more of a positive reaction and have fun with it than a negative reaction.
You established yourself as a cruiserweight. You've certainly battled with many of the heavyweights in WCW. What about your future? Where do you think that lies?
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Mike. I really believe that in the near future, you'll see a rededication of Lash LaRue, Certainly, I came in with cruiserweight roots, and I came in doing a lot of the high flying. And as I'm getting older, coming in at such a young age, I had not finished all my growing. And as I'm getting older and I'm able to maybe put on a little bit more size, but at the same time trying to maintain that leanness so that, like you said, whether I be pursuing the Cajun weight title, as I like to refer to it, and trying to get that around my waist, I can still at the same time maybe step up, and when the opportunity arises for me to get in there with the heavyweights and go toe-to-toe with them, it's not just a high-flying running from them and trying to be evasive. Maybe I can even go toe-to-toe with them and power move for power move.
Lash, we wish you continued success here in World Championship Wrestling, whether as a cruiserweight or a heavyweight. And next up here on WCW Worldwide, we will have our exclusive matchup as well as our trivia answer.
I'm not believing that for 1 minute. My mom told me something today. Never trust a bald guy.
Mama says it bees that way sometimes as well. Manager's license? Do you believe that? Not for a second. Man, I think Ric Flair, the office of the CEO of WCW, had something to do with that. I wonder if the Harris brothers have thought this thing through all the way, because it effectively takes them out of the tag team division.
That's a good point.
Well, of course it is. I brought it up.
Yeah, there's something new under the sun every week, isn't there? The Harris boys and the Young Dragons in this week's exclusive matchup. Now, this matchup took place before the tragic injury to Heavy D, Don Harris. But let's go to the ringside area. The Harris boys and the Young Dragons. A mismatch if you measure them up by height and weight, Mike. But why would the Harris boys need the chosen one, Jeff Jarrett?
Well, I'm sure that Jeff Jarrett's out here for moral support for Big Ron and Big Don, his brethren from Tennessee.
Yeah. Not gonna. Jeff Jarrett actually called me about the name I put on this trio.
What was that name again?
I'm not repeating that. I'm not gonna go on Jeff Jarrett's bad side.
Oh, you mean when you referred to them as the TWO? The Tennessee World Order. I'll never forget, Scott, when you brought that up. And Jeff mentioned to me as well that he wasn't too really thrilled about being linked with the Harris brothers. Wasn't the TWO?
What was it? TWO? No, it was something else entirely. I'm not repeating it. You're trying to get me in trouble with Jeff Jarrett.
I think you're already there.
Well, you're right about that.
I don't think there has ever been a bigger contrast in styles and size than this tag team match involving Big Ron and Big Don, the Harris brothers, and they seem to be enjoying the fact that they have quite a size advantage over the Young Dragons.
Well, I think they're underestimating Yang and Kaz. Side of headlock. I just shot him off into the... Oh! What a shoulder block.
Realistically, what is Yang thinking trying to go strength-wise one-on-one with the Harrises? I mean, that's just stupid. It's obvious if the Dragons are going to be successful in this match that they're going to need to go back to what brought them to WCW. The high-risk, high-flying moves, and now that's the way you do it. You outsmart them.
That wouldn't take too much with the Harris boys, and that's a stiff kick right in the back of the head. Wait a minute. Comes, Heavy D.
Oh.
landed some heavy blows across the back of Yang and Kaz. Sets up Yang into the ropes. Heavy D. Oh no! Swinging neck breaker. Ooh, and a basement drop kick from Kaz. Oh, Ron got sidestepped by Yang, and over the top he goes.
That's what they have to do. They have to outquick him. They have to outsmart him.
Over the top. No. Through the ropes goes Kaz. Reversal. Oh, Yang into the guardrail.
Dragons falling right into the trap of the Harris brothers. First to the steel safety rail, then the steel chair to the face of Kaz Hayashi. Oh, they're just tossing the Dragons all around the ringside area.
He tossed Yang into Penzer. Yang's going to have to take a bath now. Under the lower rope, Harris boys double teaming Kaz Hayashi. Jeff Jarrett liking what he sees from his fellow volunteers. Into the ropes, Kaz up top, side slam coming up, twisting and nail Kaz.
Well, this has been total domination with the exception of one quick offensive flurry from the Young Dragons. Total domination by the Harris brothers. They're in complete control of this match. Now they're just toying with Kaz Hayashi. Tag is in, holds him up, boot to the midsection, and now they continue the double team.
Why are they allowed to double team? Oh,
because the referee is not stopping them. I think it's part of the intimidation of the size of the Harris brothers, of having Jeff Jarrett with the guitar in hand at ringside.
I think you're onto something. Harris boys freely double teaming Kaz and Yang throughout. Into the corner goes Kaz. Oh! So quick the camera didn't even catch it. That's quick for a Harris. Corner clothesline, and Kaz Hayashi hung out over the lower rope.
That lariat with impact, with authority in the corner as Kaz Hayashi is just crawling. And look at this. The Harrises just stand back. They're enjoying watching Kaz Hayashi crawl to the corner, and then they cut off what possibly could be a tag to Yang.
Yang's had it. Yang's in there. And now, finally, Billy Silverman enforcing the rules. Somebody check his pockets. Cover. And no, Kaz.
Did he even kick out? Barely. Barely at maybe 2 9/10.
Looked like he kicked out and then had to kick out again. That's how much of a weight advantage the Harrises. Ooh! Oh, the heel of the boot right in the back of the head of Kaz Hayashi.
We talked about the Dragons trying to employ a hit-and-run offense. They haven't even been able to do that. Not able to get untracked. Now the double cross chop took him down. Repeated right hands to the side of the head.
Kaz Hayashi is even conscious. Propping himself up on the lower rope. Harris boys, what are that, do-si-do? Oh, here we go again.
And again, the referee just looks on and watches as the Harris continue the double team assault.
Flip out, cut himself off. Double shoulder to the midsection, and the Dragons hit the double hot shot on the Harris boys. Finally.
Yeah, finally the momentum switches. A chance now for the Dragons. But can they take advantage of the opening?
There it is. The legit legal tag to Yang, and down goes the Harrises. Yang clearing house of the Twin Towers. Kaz has it back together. Over the top.
Unique version of the double clothesline takes out one Harris brother. Now they turn their attention to the other, and up. Double suplex takeover.
It took both of them, but they got the Harris over. In the suplex. Hang on a second. They set him up. Kaz takes it up top. Yang is following him up there. What now?
Oh,
good night.
One way to do it. Double splash off the top.
Double pin. Is it up? No. Don Harris makes the save. And out goes Yang.
Kaz Hayashi in trouble in the ring. Yang in trouble out on the arena floor, as we see once again the momentum, the complexion of this matchup switching back as the Harris brothers take charge.
Kaz into the ropes. Harris boys, that. The H-bomb from Ron and Don Harris. Is that it? Of course. And Jeff Jarrett likes what he sees.
3 count just academic at that point after the double team move, after the Harris brothers hit the H-bomb. And now Jeff Jarrett, what is he doing in here?
Get Jarrett out of there. Oh, Yang, a little shove for the chosen one.
I'm not sure that was a wise thing to do.
Here comes the payback, and you know what the payback is. Oh! Playing a tune. This isn't the Robin Auditorium. Good night.
The guitar shot from Jeff Jarrett adds to the Harris brothers' victory. What a dominating win.
Another victory for the Harris boys. And Mike, next week on this broadcast on Worldwide, an update from Super Brawl Revenge, including Kevin Nash. You know, just a few days outside of Super Brawl, Kevin Nash's leg was broken by Scott Steiner. How did that impact Super Brawl? All that news next week on this broadcast.
And Scott, that's not all, because in addition to that, we are going to have exclusive details about next month's pay-per-view. It's March the 18th from Jacksonville, Florida, and it's the very first ever WCW Greed. And I'm still in the party spirit of Party Gras 2001. What do you say we call in Lash LaRue to close out the program?
Sounds good to me.
Come on in, Lash.
Lash, ho!
Gentlemen, I gotta tell you, I've had more fun here today than a coon in a cornfield with the hounds tied up. And since the two of you have been so good to me and allowed me to have so much fun, I'm gonna show y'all how to party New Orleans style. When we're down there for Nitro, be my guest. We'll go out to the LaRue Bayou. We'll have a blast, and I'll show you how the Cajuns know how to party.
All right.
Count me in.
Party Gras continues when Spring Breakout 2001. Mark your calendar. We're going to Clemson. We're going to UT, University of Tennessee, for you Northerners. Also going to Gainesville at the University of Florida. It all wraps up Panama City Beach, the end of March, 4-day blowout. Spring Breakout 2001. Hello? For Lash LaRue, for the Professor Iron Mike today, I'm Scott Hudson. See you next week right here on WCW Worldwide.